All right, welcome back to the winners bracket. It's the semifinals up here on the top side. It's two players who just both came off of playing TVTs, who just won TVTs to get to this TVT. Spotting the bottom left corner of the map for the IEM Taipei America qualifiers. We got the blue Terran player from Evil Geniuses, XenoCider.
Nipper right as the red Terran, CM Storm's Polt.
Alright, these guys actually squared off a long time ago in another qualifier. I believe it was still IEM, but I don't remember which event. It was definitely closer to the beginning half of the year rather than here in the latter half of the year. But XenoCider, I love him to death. I think he was probably playing at his prime earlier this year too, and he just got absolutely stomped by Polts. I'm not quite sure if this will be a repeat of that action or not, but you know, yesterday, since he started playing again, this guy's been full of surprises, so I definitely wouldn't count him out right away.
Yeah, I guess that kind of takes away from what I was going to ask you. Like, evaluate the series. Well, you just did.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you. For me, yeah, I still give this to Polt. You know, probably a 2-0. But TVT can create some funny games, so maybe get a lucky 2-1 in there.
Yeah, I mean,
Xeno,
if it's like a 1-1-1 followed up by like some sort of tank, you know, the double tanks, marine drop at a Xeno, there's ways to catch Polt off guard, and I don't know if XenoCider watched those matches or anything, but Polt did just recently play some TVTs versus Yoda, and I don't know if it was necessarily a mech weakness so much as a Yoda weakness, but Yoda was really good at capitalizing on pretty much every engagement he took against Polt.
that's a pretty good point. It's possible. You did have the brackets announced, well, yesterday, so it wasn't really all that long to really figure it out, but a couple of hours maybe. If you look at like and you know, he probably did the same thing I did, right, where he was like, oh, I'm in that part of the bracket, I think I have a good chance against Huck, Kelazur, and then maybe it's Polt where I really sort of trip up, and maybe you look at the VOD somewhere. But that is kind of a big maybe. It's a GSL style format where you have days to prepare. What I was actually going to bring up is that, like, you know, obviously this guy's not been slacking on practicing. He comes back and he's even, like, you know, maybe better than ever, question mark.
I know.
But there's also something to be said about actually taking rests, you know, if he did take any rests during that point, or, you know, just simply decreasing the amount of hours that you do play. You might think that it automatically makes you worse, and you have to do something really, you know, some serious, like, Rocky-style training to come back up, and you actually come back after a month and you realize that just being able to reevaluate and calm yourself has allowed you, I guess, to become better. Like, your mind digested everything you're trying to work on previously or something like that. It's a real thing, man.
Oh, it absolutely is. And speaking of playing better, I mean, he did take out Huck 2-0 to start off winner's bracket. Kelazur is by no means any no-name nobody. He's pretty good Terran here in the North American scene. So it's XenoCider has definitely worked his way here and earned it. But you know, Polt's going for this build that's alright. You know, we've seen this plenty of times. The drop can be deadly. The Marines, if they're not in position, get fried alive by the Hellions. But I kind of like the way XenoCider is just spread out at the top of the ramp right now. He's waiting. He doesn't quite know what's coming. But his Banshee, this is what we always talk about, you know. Is this going to be halfway across the map, or is this going to be just leaving the base when the attack begins? Will XenoCider have this to use or not?
Exactly. So we're gonna just pretty much be waiting for that. Again, both these guys have not scouted each other at all. They have no idea about gases, command center on the low ground. For all they know, like someone 14 CC'd, and they just don't know it. But obviously not the case, and we'll see if XenoCider makes the mistake of. It's not really a mistake. He does what is normal to do with Banshees and goes across the map or not. Oh, it's actually gonna bypass the medevac, so he's gonna bring it back hopefully immediately. Yeah.
No, he's actually gonna go full bore with it. XenoCider sees this coming, and the thing is, you can't fight Marines against Marines without a medevac. Not in the same way. So XenoCider's gonna take a pretty bad start to this. First blood does go down that one Marine. It looks like the Banshee did turn around and come back home.
Yeah. They really, I guess, have to is kind of strong because eventually your production will let you survive, but there's no point to it. Like, you have something that can help. You know, you're gonna use it. I mean, obviously, Polt with that also scouted the tech lab on the starport, so he knew Banshee was around somewhere, and he has engineering bay and a turret getting ready.
This is an interesting follow-up out of XenoCider,
yeah.
Raven. This is normally something if you expect your opponent to go for Banshee himself, but Polt's already revealed he didn't go for Banshee himself. Helly's now elevated up to the high ground. Now Auto Turret is going to try and do some damage with this. Banshee is struggling to kill things, but looks like he should be able to clean things up. Wouldn't mind being repositioned as well. And yeah, Xeno's gonna hold for now.
Well, Polt just repositions.
Yeah.
But he can't deal with the Banshee though, so it's kind of one of those things like, can I do damage? You know, how much damage can I do while dying? Basically, all his units are dying. And the answer wasn't really all that much. They kind of traded out armies here. But you know, that was almost it. Supply depot will also go down, apparently. No repair for Xeno.
But it does finish up the command center, so it's not a supply block, and it's not too harsh for him to
That's
deal
true.
with.
Yeah. Both command centers should go up at the same time, and both of their compositions started to look really close to each other as most of the Hellions did die.
So just going over the bets for this series real quick, guys. Bets are now closed at this point. We got 31,000 points bet on Polt and 2,581 here on XenoCider. Every bet we've paid out today so far, though, has been an upset. So hopefully you guys aren't going to get screwed here on this series. Because that's a lot of
mind.
cartoons.
I would have killed the medevac. It was just barely damaged.
Yeah, Woodmine's it's 20 damage you need to do, right? So maybe not. Would they have 5 health?
Maybe it would have 5 health.
Yeah, okay, that would have been really close either way. But Polt, I think, saw that coming, turned around immediately. Banshee doesn't have energy to cloak, so it will die to the 2 Vikings. Both players have expanded. We have XenoCider moving towards tanks. That Raven, we're going to really see if this comes into effect a little bit later on, as currently he does trail in Vikings, but not by much.
It is a very close game. Same SCV count right now. Polt has 1 more Viking, but then Xeno has 1 more tank up until now, I guess. Xeno also has the Raven, which can add a lot. You know, in the mid game, it starts to get much more difficult to use it. It does take priority, so it is actually kind of frustrating to put it in your army. But you know, sometimes it can be the perfect drop defense, or sometimes you do get that 1 really good secret missile on a marine or a tank, or 2 good secret missiles on a tank can break positioning, so that's really important. It looks like Polt's trying to go towards the 3rd location too.
Yeah, take that siege and just shell away at the natural base if you can. But the other side is rallying over here to protect it. However, he doesn't have air control. He's not really going to be able to stop these tanks per se, but Polt's a little bit tentative to go forward now.
Yeah. One mistake in this situation, while they're both still getting their production up, can be quite costly. Yeah.
Marine scouting for XenoCider, I like that.
Yeah, I really like XenoCider's spread on the Marines. That was his first indication that this attack was coming at all, was a Marine towards the top, and that is actually something that Polt usually does. It has very good Marine spread. It seems unnecessary, guys, to do this, but seriously, like, those Marines are going to put themselves at the 3rd and probably off to the left to see if medevacs are coming from that way, and Polt doesn't want that.
Yeah, XenoCider's little scouts here are costing him a couple of minerals here and there, but they've definitely paid for themselves quite a bit.
Oh, let's go beat the tanks.
Shot the tanks, but this can get repaired.
Yeah, maybe, if it, you know, that suddenly...
You really think Polt pushes with, like, damaged tanks? Stomach, please.
He doesn't push, but maybe he gets trapped out in the middle because doesn't think that Xeno's going to push himself. He goes home and he might siege them up, but hopefully he does repair them. Actually, Xeno's not going to push. Okay.
Awkward marine fight is awkward.
Yes.
XenoCider does have combi shields over his opponent, so he wins that fight.
No, yeah. Wait, so did Polt forget it? It's not on the production.
Very well be the case. I mean, he's only got 1 tech left, so he's got to wait for Stim to finish,
okay.
but... yeah, definitely gonna be a little bit later. XenoCider, by the way, does have Stim for his army, so Marine for Marine fights a little bit better. With so many tanks up, I don't think this really matters right now for Polt. This will in a bit of time, but...
Xeno's going to take advantage of the position that Polt was trying to get earlier with twice as many tanks as well. Now, Polt does have the Viking control 3-1. The Raven could make that difference. A drop happens on Xeno's side of the map, and a lot of SCVs are dying here. Yeah, it gets cleaned up.
It's an interesting choice to go for the auto turrets. Not sure I love that choice, but I think the point defense run could have given that vision and stayed alive.
Yeah, probably. It was also adding damage, I guess.
Goodbye, Raven.
Yeah. That's kind of it. It's such a good abusive position that you might want to try and like wait there as long as possible, but you know, you got to start wasting scans, and you got to start asking how many scans is good enough to waste.
A woodchuck could chuck wood.
Wood.
For XenoCider's time's kind of running out here is the problem, and as Polt starts coming around for this, maybe he'll get a couple of good shots off on his own tanks, but as we see, struggling to do even that.
This kind of counterattack. Oh, that drop didn't work out so
Nope.
well. This counterattack full of Marines it's actually pretty deadly.
This is
Oh, it's gonna be
this is primarily starting to get out of control for XenoCider because he doesn't really have a good consolidated force. Like everything he's got is in this awkward choke. Polt's getting ready to hit from 2 different angles. XenoCider should pretty much lose everything here, I think.
We'll see. You'll see how fast he can react. Oh, the stim forward can be so important. Okay, no, he decided to go for it. Never mind. Yeah, he'll be cleaned up here.
Vikings even landing on top of the tanks while this goes on. Picks up a lot of
Smooth.
medvacs though. Clutch move.
Oh,
yeah.
wait.
Oh, but flies into the turret.
Almost really smooth.
Yeah. It's like 7 out of 10. Would be 8 if things didn't go horribly, abysmally wrong. But the nice thing is a lot of these tanks are really low. If XenoCider follows up quite quickly, he very well may clear out Polt's tanks. The downside is, though, they are both on pretty similar army supply counts. So it's going to be really hard for XenoCider to really leap ahead, I guess.
Well, it's getting kind of important that XenoCider does something, and he already is, kind of. He's stopping Polt from actually taking that third. As Polt's third is finished, XenoCider's is not. So he definitely can't let, Polt actually get away with landing it as well. And he actually sees an opportunity here. I don't know if he has enough tanks to really abuse his position, though, and he seems to notice it too. Has to protect those things.
XenoCider's tanks are not where they need to be. 2 feet over to the
Yeah.
right, and he probably could have zoned out this whole army, but
Yeah.
because of this, he doesn't get that damage in the natural.
It was very, very close. If he had just waited like 2 more seconds, or Polt didn't realize just 2 seconds later.
He's going for the same position
Well,
again.
All the Vikings did die.
Yeah.
So, hey.
XenoCider putting in some nice pressure to the front. Marines going to try and sim forward, catch one of these tanks. They will catch one, maybe get 2. Tanks are gonna
Also
go down.
forces Marines into a bad position. All the tanks fire on those Marines from Polt.
Both sides trading out pretty much right now with a lot of forces going down, but the difference is what's going on. XenoCider's got a couple of SCVs.
Dude, Scarlet has a big supply lead.
What?
An SCV lead as well? Or, that's what I said, right?
No, you said Scarlet. I was like,
Oh,
Jesus.
it's because I looked at Skype and I said Scarlet. Xeno has a big supply lead as well as an army lead. The upgrades are going to be in favor of Polt, it looks like, but those are really far away. So it doesn't matter.
I thought you were doing what you normally do, where you're like watching another stream or something, and maybe someone else is streaming Scarlet. I was like, oh, great,
Yeah.
cool. Well, we're watching this game right now. So
Just Scarlet going up in chat.
So some pretty good shots off, going to kill a lot of the Marines, but Polt can't quite break his position just yet. Now XenoCider's coming from the backside. Whether he decides to pick up a drop or whether he decides to sandwich in, Polt's down in supply, in a pretty big way.
He just killed his third. He knows he's going to win this game.
Yeah, XenoCider's feeling confident as hell right now, but keep in mind, it's as easy as it is for Polt to take a bad engagement, it's equally easy for XenoCider to throw everything. So 23 workers down at this point. Polt's a whole base behind XenoCider. A lot of you guys didn't believe me when I said it before. Like, XenoCider's playing pretty good lately. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah. These 2 tanks, they did their job. It's okay if they died.
Yeah.
They did good.
I mean, if the Vikings weren't there, he would have stayed much longer, but he can no longer get that vision. And quite frankly, you just can't afford to scan for 2 SCV kills, if that. It's just not worth it.
Yeah. Polt has lost so many SCVs. Down to 25. Army supply lower as well. And the upgrades still aren't going to be in effect for another, minute.
Okay, here's how he loses. Demon blows everything in, Medevac and flies over the top of Polt. Actually, runs into this army a little bit with a big of a concave coming towards the end, but this siege tank line needs to be broken. Stims the Marines, focus fires them down. Only 2 tanks remain. Polt in a lot of trouble. Good game is called, and XenoCider will take game number 1 in this best of 3.